Hey yo, what is up guys, it's your boy Tway here. This will be a video on EClipse with the main team. I will be dissecting everything that I use on my Selene team, and I will be showing you guys the record run that we currently got, which is wave 71, and where I failed. I will be showing you guys the gear and even how I would progress this team even further. Let's get it pop. Alright, so for my Selene, I have a overcrit commitment 850, and all of my TM gear except for one is 95 HP, 25% damage, and one piece has 3% damage times 12, which is probably the best. Now it's debatable whether the defense ignore perk is better. I'm not quite sure yet. I don't have the math on this, but it seems to be that this one is the most effective. As you guys can see, I got 970 crit, which is way too much because the only thing that you need is about 850 or 800 if you have two priests on their crit perk. The moonlight arrow will give you 3 times 100 crit chance increase, whereas the T5 dark will reduce that crit chance by 300, which will equal to 0. As for the perks that he used in this video, it is this one. However, something that I might want to try out is actually have the S1 light perk, because it has damage increase, which will then allow me to do way more damage when I try to blast a boss into smithereens. I'll be using that in a future video. As for my Glen Wiz, what I have is a lot of magical defense for no apparent reason, but I genuinely use this in most of my world boss. I got myself next to no near block, and the survivability is basically coming from the Ring of Spirit Morph. Now if you don't have a 5-star, a 4-star is more than enough. And the perks that I use generally is this, because if I do tend to get hit, if I don't kill the bosses fast enough, I will die no matter if I have the battle cry up or not. The S2 light perk will give you a lot of physical damage extra, which will allow you to rotate the debuffs even further. And obviously with more defense, I will be giving myself a lot more attack for both the Fall of Frey and the Selene to get more damage. Now if I would increase this character, what I would like to get is the Hope Heavy Armor, which will then give you all defense increase and attack increase as well. And what I genuinely go for is increase defense by 45% when there is one enemy, because after wave 40 you will be only facing one enemy unless you do phase the Hellfire Child and that thing spawns. At that point you will die. So if you get pieces like these, I would tend to save them. Another thing which is highly debatable is once again Hope Bracelet, and at the beginning of each battle increases damage dealt to enemies or the ally with the highest attack by 2.5%. Now if you can get a full one on this might be even better. I'm not entirely certain of this, but the chance of you getting this might be pretty low. Now once it comes to having these items, you might actually be able to give yourself enough defense in the long run to then get yourself more attack coming from the T5 dark perk. Now there are Japanese people that actually got even further than this. So if you have a Fall of Frey shield, that will allow you to survive even better, because of the high defense, the quality of the shield will actually go up. At that point, one of the artifacts that you can use is the Pumpkin Struck Evil Spirit. But the reason why I don't do this is because my Fall of Frey is trash. She has no soul weapon. She got about 855k attack. But in all fairness, this is not the best thing that you can actually do. As for the TM gear, if I want to increase this even further, get yourself full attack once again, Galgoria set with a 25% shield increase. This will lower out the basic attack that she has, which will then allow you to keep all of your buffs onto your Selene, and your shield will increase even further, which will then allow your Glen Wiz to survive even further. As for the current perks that I'm using, it's very simple. So we take the T5 dark, the T4 dark, and the S2 dark, S1 light. Now the reason why I picked these things, once again, with the extra block with a 100% shield chance, you will have a 400 extra block, which will then allow your Glen Wiz to survive just that tad better. The S1 Dark is purely because if your HP goes any lower onto your tank, you will then be able to use this one. This is very, very effective if you use the Spirit Morph Ring. Now, if you don't have this, the chances are that this perk might not even be that useful. If you want to have something else, you can actually use the crit rate instead of anything else. Another thing which you can do is not take the HP, but take this one, Monster Hunting, which will then increase your shield status by 10%. This is way better than just having the flat HP, because if you get hit, you will die regardless. Last but not least, we got a special gimmick, which is Rohan, and as you can see, I got 2 TM skills, and these are cooldown reduction onto the 3rd skill. Now this will help you tremendously when it comes to arrow stacking, which also helps with attack stacking, which will also help in having 100% uptime on your Fallen Fray shield. Basically what it does, it tends to reset this skill a little bit more often, which will then allow you to get on every stack almost 10k attack. Now this doesn't seem much, but during the whole run you can get yourself another base attack of at least 100k depending on how many pieces you have. I can actually assume that if you have the full set, going up to wave 70, you might have yourself about 20, maybe even 30 stacks, which is basically a lot and a lot of base stats, which will then increase once again the shield and the overall damage. As for the perks that I have, reduces cooldown by 7 seconds. I don't believe that I need anything else after that point. This will allow you to reset the S3 skill more often as well. And as for all of the other perks, just copy them. It's not hard to think about this. As for the Feather of Sacrifice, honestly, getting this thing to a 5-star is not for everybody, but there is a probably even better one around the horizon that is easy to get, and that is the Heart of the Abyss. Now this has 2 very great features. One, the attack rises, which is obviously great, and if you max this thing out, it is probably even better than the Feather of Sacrifice. But the other thing is 15% attack decrease, which will then allow you for better survivability, which will increase your shield. Well, not really, but it will allow the enemy to not hit as hard, so your overall survivability will increase, which is probably even better in the long run. Now let's start off with wave 60. I've been trying to stack up as many arrows as possible, going on with the S2, then followed by Rohan S3, and with the artifact that is currently on Selene, I get as many arrows as possible, which you can see right now. But when it comes to the higher bosses, I tend to wait a little bit, and if I don't feel like my damage is enough, I will open up with that S1, instantly killing just about everything. Then for the other bosses that I believe could get killed, I open up with Rohan S2 and Fallen Fray S1. This will allow me to get that 25% extra damage coming from the bosses. Then once I hit the Hellfire Child, I will use the Soul Weapon followed by an S1, because then the Soul Weapon will transfer over to Skavir, because as Skavir you cannot use your S1. I repeat, you cannot use it. This is where I fail most of the time, because if I do like this, chances are you will get killed, because you need to open up the S1 at the Cucaracha, because otherwise this boss takes hella long. Obviously, if you have a high UT, this thing will get reset. But if you look at the amount of time that it takes me to get this dude up to the invincible frames, it is so nasty. Look at my face. I'm like, yo, I was mad surprised I even got that one. Now get the resets in and make sure that I try to yeet these things straight up to the face. I did not debuff as much, which will then not result in a kill straight A. Once again, I got to be able to yeet this thing down, open up S2, S1, shooting this thing down straight in the building, and then go further. Once again, Hellfire Child, opening up the Soul Weapon, getting all that cooldown reduction. But if this lady spawns, you will end up dead. So you got to open up the S1 and then hope that Skavir gets killed by just auto attacks. This is where you need to open up Frey's shield first, then use the Rohan shield, because they stack in order, and Rohan shield will give you that extra physical damage increase. Now if you can stun the boss, obviously it will take you and give you a little bit more extra time. use all of the soul weapons, blast this thing into Kingdom Fuck. But as you can see, the S1 of Fall of Freight was not up yet, which will then look like I don't have enough damage. Funny enough, with an extra reset, I get even further. But the problem arises that right now I don't have many arrows, and second, I won't have an S1 to blow this thing up. Same goes for everything else, and I do believe, genuinely believe, I could have killed this one if I, instead of S3, popped the S1. Now the question is, why would you even do this? The thing is very simple. You get so many gold ethers after wave 60. Now this current run, if you look at the full footage, I got 98 gold ethers on this pure run. Now that means that overall it takes me way less time to make me to that plus 20. It still costs gold, but it is really good. The 17 that you see right here is excluding the 3 extra that you get per gold ether, so this is basically not even all of it. Alrighty guys, so I hope you enjoy this full breakdown of my EClipse team. Now if you want to see any of the other ones, put something down into the comments. Let me know what teams I need to address. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video and sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one.